Talofa lava, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Pacific Island Affairs. Was there an open and transparent bidding process to ensure accountability for taxpayer funds before the decision was made to grant $4.8 million to the Pacific Economic Development Agency Limited in Budget 2010? If not, why not?
The Honourable Georgina Tehuhu.
Talofa lava. The member is making an assumption that a contestable process was required. In this instance, government decided to fund the Pacific Economic Development Agency for certain economic deliverables, and new money was appropriated in Budget 2010 for this purpose.
Sir William Sewell. Order. I've called the member's colleague. Sir William Sewell.
Were any of the well-established organisations that offer similar services to the Pacific communities in Auckland, such as the Pacific Business Trust, the New Zealand Pacific Business Council, Manukau Institute of Technology, Auckland University of Technology, Best Training, Pacifica Education Centre, were they able to bid for the $4.8 million before the government awarded it to Peter Limited? If so, which one?
The Honourable Georgina Tehuhu.
Mr. Speaker, those are all excellent organisations, and yes, they are all in Auckland. But as I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, this was a budget initiative. New money was appropriated specifically for the provision of services from Pacific Development Agency.
Sir William Sewell.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. What did Peter Limited say it could deliver in return for the $4.8 million of taxpayer money that other well-established organisations cannot?
The Honourable Georgina Tehuhu.
Mr. Speaker, the government is still to enter into negotiations for a purchase agreement with Peter, and all of those issues will be sorted out in good time.
Sir William Sewell, is it point of order or supplementary? Supplementary question.
Supplementary, Speaker. Who represented the Pacific Economic Development Agency Limited throughout its negotiations with the government, which resulted it being awarded the $4.8 million of taxpayer funding in Budget 2010?
The Honourable Georgina Tehuhu.
Ministers met with a number of people who are connected with this agency, and we were convinced that they could offer certain services that would help the government achieve its priorities for Pacific people in Auckland.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, it was, I think, a specific and careful question as to who, and I think a number of people is not an answer to who. Who represented someone, a number of people, is not, I think, an answer to what was a careful and specific question, not with any spin around it at all.
I think the member makes a fair point. If the Minister has the information, I think the question was a fair question, totally focused on the primary question, and if the Minister has that information, it would be helpful to the House. The Honourable... the Minister is indicating she doesn't have that information with her. Question... Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, and I'm placing myself at some risk here, but it just beggars belief that the Minister
No,
didn't know who she negotiated
right now.
with.
No, he can't treat the House like that. That's not on. The Minister has indicated she doesn't have that particular information and therefore can't answer the question with any more detail than that. And that's the people can make their own judgments about that, but that is a perfectly fair answer to the question. Question number... point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, in support of my colleague, this is an important matter, and Mr. Speaker, I seek clarification as to whether the Minister is saying that she does not know.
Order. The member will resume his seat right now when I'm on my feet. The member's trying to litigate the answer. It's not on. It's perfectly within the member's opportunity to, next sitting day, to ask a specific question about who negotiations took place with. And then the Minister will answer it. Question number 10, Chris Ockenvold. Point of order, the Honourable David Cummins.
The gist of the point of order was, if the Minister had a document, for example, with her that she might have access to or might have quoted from, then it would not be within standing orders for her to say that she didn't have that information. So
Order.
just seeking
Order.
clarification.
Order. The member will resume his seat. He's not going to litigate. I mean, the Minister has told the House or indicated to the Speaker she doesn't have that information with her. And I must take the Minister's word on that, and so must the member. He cannot litigate it that way. Question number 10, Chris Ockenvold.